Last week, I made a guide to adding full color graphics to the first layer of your 3D prints. Today, part 2, with more testing and more tips so you can have success with whatever combination of 2D and 3D printer that you own. It's not very often that I have a chance for an immediate follow-up to a video I've made, but the comments and responses from last week were just too interesting. In this video, we take adding color to your 3D prints further by following up some of your suggestions and testing on other printers so you don't need to purchase a dedicated sublimation setup. Just in case you missed last week's video, I was contacted by Johan from Nerds Philippines, demonstrating a 3D print with a full color first layer. He shared settings and invited me to make a guide. This process requires sublimation, but to save money, instead of using a sublimation printer, I purchased the cheapest Epson EcoTank printer I could and filled it with sublimation dye instead of the usual ink. I then employed Sam Prentice against his will to be my guinea pig, printing his image onto sublimation transfer paper before cutting out the images, gluing them down to the 3D printer bed, and printing directly onto them, where the heat and pressure of the first layer caused the graphics to transfer to the 3D print. In that video, I shared a range of material testing and settings, including those that needed changing in the slicer, and solutions to problems you may face, like positioning the printed graphic in the correct part of the bed. Thanks again to Johan for all of his help in making that video, and now let's get on to the comments, questions, and responses from last week. The most important response I received from multiple people was that you can do this process with other 2D printers. For instance, this email from viewer Jean. Back in 2013, they tested this same technique, but using a color laser printer with regular paper, and they provided a link to an example image, which you can see a small version of here. A lot more people have color laser printers than sublimation printers, so this was very promising. There was also comments left on the video, like this one from Greg, again saying that you could use a color laser printer, but instead of regular paper, printing onto a transparency. And they linked to a video from Jason Winfield on how to do this. This is a nice concise video that details the process well. You use a color laser printer to print onto a clear plastic sheet, the type used with an overhead projector, and then, like my video, you print directly onto this. When it's done, the transparency is peeled off and the graphics have transferred to the print. Now, I actually had some of this film on hand because I used to use a similar process to make PCBs. I would print the negative of my circuit onto this transparency, tape that onto some blank PCB, and then force the two together through an ever-suffering laminator. This would transfer the black toner onto the PCB, I'd touch it up with Sharpie, and then use a chemical solution to eat away all of the copper apart from where it was covered. And believe it or not, I still had the old laser printer, and no word of a lie, it was living in an unused toilet that we used to store such things. The toilet might be unused, but this printer is old and absolutely filthy. I have no idea what's living in these white dots, and I'm going to leave all of this filth in place because I think it adds character. The main thing was that the printer still worked, so I could conduct some more testing. All I needed was a driver to use it with my current computer, but what I found on their website instead was this end of service announcement. And then, in a truly scummy move, when you click on the download icon, instead of going to the driver that you need, you go to a country selector, or they'll put you in touch with someone to help you purchase a brand new printer. The next time I need to do that, it certainly won't be with this company. Eventually, I found an old laptop that had this printer installed, and then I found this thread that showed me how to use Windows PowerShell to locate the folder with the driver, which I could then transport to my current computer and use it to install the printer properly. So let's start our testing with plain paper. And my first one was actually the printer's demonstration page, because that's all I could print until I had the driver sorted. I glued it down and used the exact same print settings as I showed in the last video. I noticed when it was done that the ordinary paper was absolutely stuck to the plastic, and by the time I managed to scrub all of the paper off, the image had really lost saturation. It also felt like there was still a very fine texture over the entire print, which you can see in the darker colours of this close-up. I then repeated the test using Sam Prentice so I could compare to my previous results, once again finding that the paper was truly bonded and a lot of scrubbing was required to remove it. After washing, once again it still had the fuzzy texture, and I could scrape at it and little bits of paper would ball up and come loose. This left me feeling that it was the paper as much as the toner that was now stuck on the 3D print. So how about trying the sublimation paper from last week? Like before, it was much easier to wash, and I think the result looks better too. You can see the infill pattern quite obviously, but the colours are stronger and without that paper texture. If we compare the results from the sublimation printing versus those with the colour laser, I think it's quite interesting. The colour laser clearly has much darker blacks, so I think this type of printer would be preferable for things like text and instructions like I showed in an example last week. But I think the sublimation ink has warmer, richer colours, so I think that would be preferable for photo style imagery. So how about transparency film as shown in Jason Winfield's video? The first thing to understand here is that like when I was making my PCBs, the toner doesn't adhere to these sheets as cleanly as it does regular paper. If we place the printed film down on a white piece of paper, it becomes really obvious, with all of this smudging surrounding the dark areas. The toner is also prone to rubbing off on your fingers, so be careful. I didn't fancy my chances of gluing this film down, so I went for the tape method, which previously was working with small prints. I then printed yet another disc with the same settings as all the other times, and after everything had cooled, it was time for print removal, which is where transparency film works best. Because the printed plastic doesn't bond with the film like paper, it pops right off, and that's also the reason that we have such great colour transfer. But such detail can be a double-edged sword. We can see in this reflection that the texture from the clear sheet has been transferred to the surface of the print, and where the colour is present it's very rich, but we can also see large chunky areas where the toner hasn't transferred either to the transparency film or the 3D print or both. There's also a marked difference between the perimeters and the infill. Some people seem to think that an inkjet printer would work, so let's try it firstly with plain paper. The first thing to know is that the filament stuck perfectly to the paper like every other time. Probably too well, because like the laser printer on the plain paper, it felt like this was really bonded to the plastic and I couldn't really wash it away completely. So I repeated the test, this time using sublimation paper, which came off nicely as it also does, but so did the inkjet ink. Here you see some colour on the nostril, and a second or so later it's completely gone, only the dark sections remain, and it's worth noting that I'm not using particularly hot water here. So let's compare a baseline with sublimation ink and paper from last week versus the two inkjet examples. Plain paper works, but the colours are faded and the texture is furry. An inkjet on sublimation paper does work, but the colours wash off pretty much straight away, leaving it looking quite ghostly. I'll sum up what printer and paper works best for what at the end, but the important thing to know for now is that there's multiple options, no matter what type of 2D printer that you own. Let's continue addressing the queries. For further testing, I need more pictures of Sam. And luckily for us, he puts out plenty of great ones. And if you're wondering why I'm putting him in these videos so much, well, all I can say is he's the one that started it. But I'm so glad he did. Some people asked, why don't you use a heat press to apply the sublimation to the 3D print? The first reason I didn't include this was because I was trying to promote sublimating to true 3D shapes rather than just flat ones. However, just to be thorough, let's try this out with a plain printed PLA disc and the sublimation print on top. I'm going to follow the instructions from the sublimation paper, 200 degrees with firm pressure for 1 minute. The first thing we learn is that we can kind of sublimate to this greaseproof paper. The other predictable outcome is that our print is greatly distorted from all of the heat, as well as having these weird discolorations on the surface. Obviously, I could change the heat and pressure as well as time to try and refine this, but remember, every 3D print is somewhat different. So for me at least, I'd rather stick with the slow but consistent method of printing straight onto the sublimation paper. Speaking of 3D shapes, some people commented that folding a 2D shape could convert a 3D shape to have colour on more than just the bottom. Arclanatha was the one who suggested this, so I thought I would try it out on this cube box from Flatprint by Ariza. For this one, I needed a very special pattern to put across the surface of the box, and luckily for me, Sam was very much obliging. This process tends to promote some elephant's foot, and that makes slotting this together slightly harder. But with some perseverance, it definitely can be done. I'm really happy with this result, and I'm sure all of my family members who will be receiving one of these for Christmas will be too. Some people wanted to know if the process would work on other beds, and that is referring to the fact that I promoted this Bamboo Lab engineering plate, which unfortunately you can't buy anymore. So this time around, I tested on my second SK tank, which has a regular PEI smooth bed. Interestingly enough, because this doesn't use a contact probe for its ABL, instead using a beacon, I didn't need to change the squish for the first layer because this probe doesn't know that the paper's there, so that naturally gives the extra squish we're after. As expected, there was zero problems with the paper staying stuck to the PEI sheet. Paper removal was exactly the same as the engineering plate, and I washed off the excess paper and glue with warm water in the sink without any issues at all. I would say you can use any bed as long as it's durable enough to handle this cleaning in warm water. Plenty of people were interested in knowing about other colours, including clear filament and what if we add backlighting. The filament used for this cube was a marble PLA, and we can see the fleck through the image, which gives an interesting effect. But what I really wanted to try was printing onto a much darker filament, for instances where white didn't really match. So how about this dark grey PLA from the original print? I used a laser color print for the darker blacks, but it doesn't really pop the same for me. I also tried laser color onto transparent film. It's much clearer this time, and probably the best result, but again, there are sections where the toner hasn't fully transferred. Overall, I think the colors still look pretty good and this is viable. I also tried printing with transparent TPU. I think it looks okay with dim light and you can see objects through it. However, once we up the light intensity, the image details tend to get lost in all the 3D printing artifacts. For backlighting in general, it works pretty well as long as the print is thin. Again, we can see some of the 3D printing artifacts, and this would only be exaggerated with a thick object because we would see the sparse infill as well. So this technique is not ideal for lithophanes, but with more development, it could be quite effective. Plenty of people said you could tweak the 2D printer settings for more color saturation. And this was in response to Johan's technique that I showed in the last video, where we put the print through the 2D printer twice to lay down twice the amount of dye, the end result being much stronger colors. There was a varied range of suggestions to try to avoid this double printing method. Obviously, in your graphics program, you could tweak things like the coloration or color curves prior to printing, but of course this would require some trial and error. What I was more interested in was applying a global setting in the print dialog as those commenters had described. If we come to color management in Adobe Illustrator, we can see there's numerous profiles here. I don't really have any knowledge of these, but I can at least read the descriptions for the rendering intent. I printed one with default settings and another with it set to saturation, which is meant to make the colors brighter at the expense of accuracy. I can't really see any difference here at all. I'm sure there is a lot of potential for people who know what they're doing here. Unfortunately, I just don't have the right knowledge to share with you on how to do that. Next up, a few people told me that you can really make colors pop with a clear coating. In my opinion, the colors always look best when the print was still wet after washing off the paper, so this was definitely worth a try. So I taped up one half and used some clear enamel spray paint. In case you didn't know, I am notoriously poor at painting things, and as you can see, I went way too thick here. Unsurprisingly, once the paint had dried, this gave me some issues where all the colors had run and warped. When we compare it to an unpainted print, we can see that now he looks a little bit like the Elephant Man. So I did a second one with a much lighter coating of paint. The colors are a little richer, but overall, I would say the shininess is enhanced more than the actual colors. I also thought I'd try out some of this body glitter spray that I was sent instead of sublimation spray. The glitter part definitely worked, but the clear coating didn't really seem to cure properly, so unsurprisingly, I wouldn't really recommend this one. So my results were only okay with this, but I'm bad at painting, so I'm sure others will do better. Clear coat will definitely help the colors shine. You just need a bit of skill so you don't apply too much or too little. We'll finish by evaluating the various printer and paper combinations. We'll start with sublimation dye on sublimation paper like we featured last week. The main downside is the specialized printer, and for most people they'll need to purchase this because they won't already have one. I also learned from the comments that you'll need to print continuously to prevent things from drying up and needing extra maintenance. In return for this, you have the versatility of being able to make your own custom garments, as well as combining sublimation with 3D printing as covered in these videos. I think this technique has the richest midtones, but the colors are a little weak overall, especially black. But overall, I think it's a proven and versatile solution. Moving on to Inkjet with plain paper that many people will already have everything they need to try, I'd say this is kind of the bare minimum. The color will be transferred, but it feels more like the actual paper still stuck there. And for me, this was confirmed when I switched to sublimation paper, as most of the Inkjet color simply washed off. So inkjet printers are not ideal, but you can technically still do it. I'd say the same about a color laser printer onto plain paper. It will work, but it's really hard to get the paper off, and the colors seem to fade the more that you scrape. So viable, but just a little bit messy as a process. I was quite pleased with the color laser printer onto sublimation paper. The saturation was strong, particularly the blacks. The paper is easy to mount and then wash off afterwards. The only downside is that the image appears to be a lot darker compared to other techniques. Finally, color laser onto transparency film. I've used the word vibrant here twice for a reason, as using this combination will give you the most gloss and the strongest colors without any extra tweaks. Like with sublimation paper, you will tend to have quite a dark image, especially the blacks. And one of the best perks is how easy it is to remove the plastic from the film, no washing required. However, this is not my favorite method because there's still some downsides. For instance, the toner doesn't always go on cleanly, and the static electricity generated by the film is a magnet for dust and hair. I also had issues with the transparent film rippling from the heat of the 3D print. For some prints, this didn't seem to matter and the print didn't distort at all, whereas for others, the film lifted up and the print warped, ruining the surface quality on everything except the bottom layer. I think double-sided tape could be the best solution here. And a bonus evaluation for Sam Prentice. What's not to like? He's vibrant, charismatic, he has a great English accent, and provides striking images for use on social media thanks to his outstanding eyebrow control. As yet, nobody has found any negatives. Hopefully there's enough here that you can experience some success no matter what machines that you own. Thanks to everyone who engaged with me in the comments in part 1, and thanks to Johan for starting everything off with his video demonstration. Oh, and thank you so much for watching as well. And until next time, happy 2D plus 3D printing. G'day, it's Michael again. If you liked the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.